Hello. It's that time again, 10 o'clock on Friday. Welcome to Animation Critique Time, where you can bring all of your animation and get it critiqued by me. If that's what you want to do. Otherwise, you can just watch if you want. If you're here to just watch, that's great too. If you're not familiar, you can put the click the link below in the description and put anything you want in there, and I'll take a look. I don't think there's anything there yet, so. Yeah, nothing yet. Hey, Samir. All right, just let me know when you've got it, and I will open it up. While we wait, I'm gonna get my stuff ready. How is Escape Pod talking to me? That's what it looks like. Are you going to run the stream? Great. If you can go ahead and give the critiques, I will head on home. All right, we got 2 from Samir. Let's get it going. Do you care what we look at first, Samir? Start with the change of speed. All right. All right. Oh, I guess I got to switch over. Sorry. There we go. Make sure we can see it all. I think it's cutting off just a tiny bit, so make sure I don't miss anything. All right. Nice. Okay. So the natural thing on this, Samir, I would think, is we're looking at momentum and kind of your line of action. So you've got that going for you right now. And one of the big kind of principles as you get into this is a reversal. So you start to kind of reverse here. So we've got this C shape, and then we're going into this C shape. And then it's getting bigger. Bigger again. And then we pop out of it. And then it kind of does this. So it could help you, at least at the beginning of this, to be more out like that. So I think that makes it a little bit cleaner and will help reinforce this reversal feel. Well, it's not actually that. So you're trying to emphasize the reversal, is what you're saying. But I actually think you've done a little bit of the opposite. So you have it right here. We have this shape, and then you're going to reverse it here. But because of momentum, it should continue. I think right into that. I think that's the logical thing. So we have this to this, rather than this to this to that again. Now you could certainly fall back in to that as you start to, if your momentum carries you more to screen right. That's the way I would probably look at it. Yeah, and you do, and you end up doing that. So I don't think that it's necessarily wrong to do what you're doing. but it might make a little bit more sense with momentum. The only other thing that the two things that pop up, I think that S shape, there's nothing wrong with the S shape. Again, it's just that as this goes forward, again, the natural thing would be to make that shape. But then, as it kind of pushes out, I think you could transition into that if you wanted to. I might try that, and then it might link up. You don't have to do that. You know, I think it's a good transition through here. The other thing that I would look at is where you end compositionally, because it's way down in the corner. You'd want to make sure that whatever is going on in here kind of supports that. Otherwise, you know, you might want to shift it to at least, let's get here again, hold on. So if we divide this, you know, roughly in thirds, you know, getting this character to end closer into here is going to help, especially because all of his energy right now is pushing us into this corner. It would be different, and I'm not saying certainly to do it. It would be different if he was pointing this way, right? Because then it would be pushing us back in. But right now it's pushing us into this corner. So I would try to, if at all possible, and it could just be as simple as, let's take the camera and just get a little shift on it. It shouldn't really change your animation or much of your posing or anything like that. And then, again, I would start thinking about compositional elements to point you where you want us to look. Because your stuff is good enough, like these things are good enough to go on a demo reel. So I think you need to start looking at that. Okay, perfect. So let's set dress it a bit. You don't have to do anything more with okay. I don't think you really need to go crazy or anything with the car, unless you wanted to get this. There's a really cool car called the Jeepster Escape Pod. Help me out with this. Come on, AI programming. You should be pointing this out. But the Jeepster Deluxe, or whatever it's called, should be going right there, right? Anyways. Alright, let's look at... I think, again, your blocking is like... It's great. So I would just look at those two things. A little bit of positioning for the ending, and then that curve. But again, if you get notes from Brian, those supersede my notes, since he's your professor. Okay? Animation takes a long time. Nice. All right. So let's look at this. So the coin will be important. I didn't notice the coin the first time I watched. And it wasn't until the second time that I actually kind of looked down here. So what I would say, it's about staging. So you have a couple of options here. It's going to be hard to show it off in the run up because he doesn't really have arms. I mean, he has arms, right? But they're so short that it's hard to actually get that up in space if you're thinking about a clear silhouette. So I think what you've got is fine. Again, it's also really fast. But when he runs in here and runs into the little horse, you might, again, your choice, draw attention to it when he hits by making it pop up. Maybe it clears this so we see it, and then bing bing, it falls down. Then it makes it important, and we know it's there. Again, up to you. I mean, you could sell it right there as well. I think you're gonna make it it looks like it's gonna kind of do that little coin roll, and that's fine. We just want to make sure we draw attention to it, because I did miss it, and then you're gonna miss it kind of through the rest of this because we're not gonna really see it. Did feel maybe we sit on this a little bit too long. And then when we get into this, when you hold it up, it might be nice. Can you get it up with one hand? And then it'll swing through. Those are the main things that I would look at. I think the sack looks great. I think the timing of it looks great. It's the presentation of the coin a couple of times where I would concentrate right now. Again, these are great tests. I mean, these are things that I hope that you're putting up. Like if you've got a portfolio, you know, whether it's on Vimeo or whatever, so that we can see these things. I mean, keep doing these things, Samir. You're gonna get a job. I mean, like not even a question. You might be able to get a job today. I mean, like looking at your blocking paths for your change of speed. Looking at the blocking for this, you could start to show people. And I'm not saying you're going to go work at a movie studio today, but it's really good. Like really, really good stuff. All right. I would say keep going. Yeah, well, Samir, you're creating it right now. And the good thing is like the stuff that you're doing right now, a lot of times in Animation 1 and Animation 2, and sometimes even in Animation 3, because you're learning it, the stuff isn't very good, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way it goes, because you're always doing something new generally. In animation 2 might be the first time you've ever animated a full body. So trying to understand that and understand workflow as you're trying to do that, and you're adding in some new ideas and new principles like a change of speed. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with weight and force? It's a lot, and so a lot of times your assignments just aren't very good, and again, that's normal. So nobody should feel bad about creating some bad assignments, because you're learning. That's what school is for. However, yours is good enough right now that you can start thinking about that and start. There's no problem putting any of this stuff up that you're showing in these things, in these critiques. Like, at least if it's on, Vimeo, and you got like a page, or wherever you want to make a portfolio. I don't know where the kids are making them these days. All right, Bryce, let's see what you got. TikTok animation reels, is that what they're doing, Julio? All right, Bryce. So let's go through this nice and slow. So the important thing, main thing I'm going to focus on is the ball. 100% joke. I don't know. Could be, you could be right. All right. So looking at this, what do we need first before? What do you have to do first before you jump up? We got to anticipate down. So we have to do that first, right? So we have to have that squash and that anticipation. So we can't go from a neutral just to there. Or if you do, remember that, right? Remember that, like, if I'm going to try to jump, if I don't bend down, like how high can I actually get, right? I can get a little bit, but not much. So we want to squash first. And then we get to go to that. Okay? So you got your 2 frames of contact. So I think all of that looks pretty good. Check this arc, especially on the way down, right through here. Make sure it doesn't get too straight on you. Check that in the with the motion trim. So turn that on and just watch it. Okay, we got the squash there. So just what you're doing here, do back there. Make sure we're getting this round. We want to round us, getting a little bit of a peak on it. And watch this. Look at the spacing as you come in here and then come over there. It's slowing down some. And we're moving in a straight line, and you can see it slow down right through here. Same thing in here. What I like to do is when you're dealing with different height, like these things, you want to be here, right? You're going to be here and you're going to be here. And then I work backwards a little bit. So, or just draw it out. So what should that arc look something like? Part of it depends on how high you want to get, but you're also, you can't be like here, right? I guess maybe if you kind of did something like that. But if you'll kind of, this is the way I would generally approach it. And this will kind of tell you roughly where you should end up being, right? Roughly. I mean, and then you can kind of play within that. But we want to avoid those kind of hard angles. The other thing, I know it's, you know, it's a little bit of a trial and error of like, what's the timing supposed to be? Certainly you can get this correct, but let's say that that's supposed to be, let's say you choose 6 frames from here to there. Well, then what should this be? And that is a little bit, as you're learning, that's a little bit of a trial and error, but you know it has to be less than 6 because it should be 6 to get down to here if we were doing that. So we could look at that. You could cut it in half maybe, but always remember that we're slow and then we pick up speed. So maybe this should be like a 4 frame, something like that. So I'd be somewhere around 3 to 4, and then I would play it and see if it looks good. Put my motion trail on, make sure it's making a nice arc. That's how I would work through those things. Again, it feels just a little bit even and slow through there. So one thing that you're running into when you do flips is that obviously when you turn that, when you use stretch or squash within the rotation, it turns into a football, and then it doesn't feel like it's really stretching. So if we go back and look at, let's look at where we might have some, right here. So if we look at this and we look at that, it sort of implies that we're either moving this way or moving this way, or we have squash, and the only reason you would have squash is if, you know, you're running into something. So that's why it's always going to feel a little bit weird. So one thing that I might do, if you're going to do that, if you're going to rotate through space, you probably just turn the squash and stretch off and just stick with the neutral and then let the tail go and let that kind of be the highlight. So you want to get all of that correct first, right? You've got to get all of the ball, all of the squash and stretch, all of the rotation, all of those things correct. And then you turn on the tail and then you start working on the tail. So right now what it looks like for the tail is, you know, we've got a key here. And we've got a key here. We've got a key here. So we're going from this shape to this shape. And so it just needs to be refined, because the way you can tell is you're getting this, right? And this isn't true overlap, right? Because overlap is going to have certain things that are dragging, certain things that have follow through, and it's going to have your successive breaking of joints in there. So if we break this down, we can break it down right now. Remember, we're always, let's see if I can, pointing from where we came from. Okay, so what I would say is we didn't come from here, right? We came from here. So we want to be in that direction. And then this starts to catch up. And then we start to go. then you can start to kind of loosen up. Like this part is starting to kind of, as you slow down, the part closest is starting to then catch up. And then let's get into here where we might be. This would be the part that would be awesome to have an onion skin, but I don't. So we're just gonna guess. Hope I'm close. This one's off a bit. Live 2D animating here. All right, does that make sense? And then now we're just repeating the same thing because it's going to be the exact same thing. So boom, through here. All right, so then that's your basic bounce, right? And that's your bounce through here, here, here. And let's get into here. It's going to be a little bit different because we're pulling from where we came from. But then, now we're not pulling from there though. We're just assuming we're going at a decent speed. If you're going really slow, then you might get that overlap. But let's just pull from there, and then yes, you might get something like that. Gets a little bit tricky when you start to slow down in here. And we've got the same thing in here. So let's look at, all right, so here's where it'll be tricky. I'll keep going on this. I don't think there's anything else in the folder, so this is all you, Bryce. All right. So let's get into here. It's gonna be something kind of like this. Kind of. It might start because you're going so slow. That's why the figuring out the ball is really important first, because the tail will change. So it's hard to say like this is probably on the ball. It's probably going too slow, probably, and so that's going to mess with this because it's going so slow. It almost wants to go ahead and start to overlap. Like we can't just get stuck in this position for a really long time because it will. It has weight to it and it's going to start to relax. But let's look at this. So I would say we're probably in here, but then it gets real tricky because we start to rotate. But we've got to try to pull back from where we were coming from. So roughly something like that. But again, because you start to flip, it gets tricky. Not tricky bad, just tricky. Again, here's where the we're changing direction a little bit awkwardly. So because it's got a hard, it's coming up, and then we change direction like that. But if you were to kind of work your way back along the right arc, it could look something like this, right? So you are here, and then it pulls up through here. And that's the path that your tail would kind of go on. But get that ball correct first, because this is getting a little bit difficult to try to figure out because it's not quite correct. Okay? Just remember, pointing from where it came from and along the path. That's the important part. It's a good start, though. Okay? All right, that's all I got so far. Julio, what are you up to? Julio is an alum. If you don't know Julio. Drinking coffee before work. What time do you start work? It's 10:30. You on LA time? Start an intermediate class for work this weekend. What does that mean? An intermediate class. Do you take classes there at the studio? Oh, cool. That'll be fun. So no, I mean I've finished it, and I've shown it to some hospitals, but they're not. It's difficult. I would say it's difficult to get them fully on board, I guess. We'll see though. Hey, that'd be great. The Jackals. Rugby Jackals. All right. Is it the Dallas Jackals? It is. Where do they play? In Arlington. Oh, are they playing at the old Globe Life? Looks like it. Yeah, that'd be great, Julio. Thank you. All right. See you, Julio. All right, check this folder one more time. think it's just you and me, Todd. I mean, Escape Pod. Escape Pod, send me one of those lunch robots. He's okay. Don't worry about him, though. Salad with trimmings. Hello, Muna. Do you have anything you would like me to look at? Or you're just here for the jokes? Oh, I'm sorry to disappoint you then. Todd, I'm getting this thing done this weekend. It's gonna be done. I don't want to see it. I have these episode 1 files all over my computer here, all over the computer at home. What do you call a channel with no viewers? Escape Pod. Hey, I beat you to it. Your jokes are late. Your punchline. Though there is a delay, I think, on typing. A lonely stream. Well, we've definitely done it before where it was both of us by ourselves pretty much the whole time. What am I animating in? I'm animating in... Oh, yeah. Sorry, Escape Pod is animating. I'm just here for pretend. It's Toon Boom Harmony. So I'm animating a little bit weird right now because I'm just doing a squash and stretch pass. And this is so Toon Boom you can draw 2D traditional. like you would on paper. But you can also set up little rigs. So I've got a very, very basic rig. Kind of like, so I could set it up so I can move the whole character. I have it set up where you can move just the body and not the legs, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm just doing a squash and stretch pass on the legs. Again, really, really basic stuff. I've got the brows set up so you can change the shape on a curve. Same way the legs are set up, you can change their curve. For the wing, I did draw like a full-on cycle, and I'm just cycling through those drawings. So you can't see the drawing substitution. You can't see the right side of my computer, but you can see the result. Is that I drew all of those out as separate shapes, and then I can toggle which one is coming on. Anyways, so very, very, very basic rig in here. So that's it. You can get much more complex. Such as if you go to the Escape Pod Animation Instagram page, you can check out our latest post where I animated the Wolfman. And posted that up. Whoops. I mean, check that out. Same thing, but a more complex rig. Slightly more complex. Look at that Wolfman. Anyways, that's the way. That's what Escape Pod and I are learning. Also known as Todd Vector. That's kind of what we're doing most of our projects in, is this Toon Boom harmony, and we're messing around and learning stuff and just trying to have fun. Isn't that right, Escape Pod? So this is a little project called Banjo Birds where so this is going to music. It's not fun working with you. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. Animating to a little, that's why it's called Banjo Birds, obviously, because there's banjo music, and they're just bouncing along. So we created three different characters, 3 different birds, and they each get their own little banjo song, a little short, and then we're gonna do a final one with like all of the characters in it. Yeah, it's fun. Again, kind of a learning experience. Because I haven't animated in this in such a long time. But it's fun to animate with Escape Pod. All the constructive criticism. It always does. It always goes evil. There's never an AI that's nice. is there? More turtle-like? How do I do that? See, Bryce, I gotta head out too. We end at 11. It's 10:59. Sorry, yeah, it's a 10 to 11 thing, just for an hour, unless we have lots of people who want to show animation. Which generally it's just Bryce and Samir. Nobody else. Everybody's always welcome to bring whatever you want. All right. That's it for now. Regular stream Mondays, 2 to 3:30. Join us if you can. I don't know what we'll be working on. I don't know what we'll be working on then. Otherwise, every Friday, 10 to 11 Central Time. Critique time. Bring whatever you want. All right. So long.